All right, guys, so notes 2-2. All right, first thing we're going to start with, write a polynomial function. So we're back to polynomials here. Of least degree. With real coefficients. That has the given zeros. Let's try. Your zeros are 2, -4, and square root of 3. Okay, so your directions here. Least degree, that just means the degree should match the number of zeros that you have. Real coefficients, you just can't have any imaginaries. If the directions said write it in standard form, that would mean multiply it out completely. Super rare that I'm going to make you do that, okay? Because it's very tedious, and that's not really, like, you guys can multiply at this point, okay? You might mess up a sign somewhere, but that's not what I'm testing you on. I'm testing on whether or not you understand what it means when I give you the zeros. So, first, if it's a polynomial function, we have to start with f of x equals. If you don't actually make it an equation, you would lose points. And then let's look at it. If one of your zeros is 2, what is a factor of your polynomial then? X minus 2, okay. What about -4? X plus 4, good. Okay, now I've got root 3. Is there anything else that I know about? What do you think? They're in pairs. Yes, so I'm not going to make you write out the whole theorem that talks about that. But if you have anything with a radical, including imaginary numbers, because those have square root of -1 going on, those are always going to come in pairs. They're conjugate pairs. So if you have square root of 3, even though it's not written, you should know that you also have negative square root of 3. Okay. So I have 4 zeros, 4th degree function. What are my last 2 factors going to be?
X squared minus 3 and x squared plus 3.
Not quite. You're making it a higher degree than it really is.
X squared minus 3.
Okay, you guys are making this harder than it is. You're not wrong with that, but just write the factors for me first. Just do x minus root 3, x plus root 3. Okay, that's fine. That's all I need. You're overthinking. Like, if you multiply, yes, we would get to x squared minus 3. That's fine. We wouldn't get both plus and minus. We would get to that point. So if you wanted to, you could stop here. This meets the criteria. It's got real coefficients, zeros, least degree, all of that. If you wrote and gave me the x squared minus 3, that's also fine. Like, I would take either of those answers for those directions. Okay? All right, that was A. Let's do another one. I don't want to rewrite those directions. Let's say your zeros are, we don't need to. -5 and 3i. Okay, so what's a 0 that's not listed but I know is there? -3i, good. So what are my factors going to be? X plus 5. We're good at that one, right? Okay. What are the other two factors? Just saying, guys. I heard one say x minus 3i. What's the other one? Okay. Are any of you seeing and just going straight to the x squared, what, plus 9?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. This is the only answer that actually meets the criteria this time. Because remember the direction said real coefficients? I don't want you to leave it with the i's in it. I need you to either multiply that out or, okay, I recognize that if I've got plus or minus 3i, this is what's happening, okay? All right. Let's do one more level of this. Let's say we have x equals, I don't know, 3 and 2 minus I. So what's the other 0 that's there even though it's not there? 2 plus I. Do you guys want to try this one to get to at least as far as no imaginaries? Or are we a little scared? You got as far as x minus 3. Good start. So guys, one way, if you're struggling at all with the factors, like thinking about what's happening, when you're writing the factors, we aren't just saying, oh, it's the opposite. Like, I want you to understand where it comes from. So do you agree that these are like my solutions, right? We're okay with that? So if I set them equal to 0, right, like that's where the factor comes from. So that's one way to do it, to get all the way to the x minus 3. So think about what your other factors would be. There's multiple ways that we can get there. I'm going to give you a minute. See if you can multiply just enough. And I know you guys did this last year, and I know different teachers have different ways of showing you, so we'll see what you guys do with it. After you multiply, you shouldn't have any imaginaries left. That's here. All right, guys, so some of you are getting to the factors, some of you are not. If you think about solving these, right, x minus 2 plus I is one of your factors. And then x minus 2 minus I would be another factor.
Wait, would it be x minus parentheses 2 plus I parentheses?
For which one?
The second one, or the third one, both.
So it's x minus all of this,
Yeah.
which becomes minus 2 plus I, right?
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I just distributed my negative. But yes, you're right. That's minus the whole root. Okay? All right, so let's look at those factors. You just wrote it without doing like the solving, right? You just did x minus the root.
Kinda.
Okay.
What I did was, okay, so what I did probably wasn't right at all.
Okay. It might be creative though.
I tried to simplify to minus I and turned it into root 4 minus root negative 1. And then I combined that into root 5, but that's definitely not right.
Yeah, that's a no-go. Up to that point, like, I don't know where that would have led you, but the last step part was wrong. So from here, then it's just a matter of multiplying the two that have the i's in them, okay? So leave the x minus 3 alone. I don't care how you multiply. We're going to have x squared minus 2x. Guys, do you know what's going to happen every time with, like, the xi and the 2y and the, like, do you guys see that that's all going to go away every time? Okay. I don't care if you write it or not. It's fine with me if you don't write it, as long as you don't get lost in your process. I'll write it just in case you want to see it. So if you look at what's left, did I miss one?
Oh, yeah.
Minus, yeah, thank you. I was getting ahead of myself. All right, so this is gone with this is gone with this. So I've got x squared minus 4x, and then what does minus I squared actually mean? Plus 1, right? So this is really plus 5. That's definitely like the long multiply it all out way. If some of you see shortcuts to get there, I'm fine with you using them, as long as you do it correctly. Okay. Does that make sense? You don't have to continue multiplying after that. I just want to make sure you can get rid of the i's. You good? Okay. Let's do one more of those just to see if you... Yeah, sure. Let me wait a second. You good?
Let's say that was able to be factored x squared minus 4x plus 5. We can factor that.
So, if it was factorable, you get right back to where you just were. So if they're imaginaries that you're multiplying together, it's not going to be something that you can factor. Okay? All right, so let's try one more. Let's say your zeros this time are negative 5, and let's do 3 minus 2y. So you guys try. Mm-hmm.
You did f of x equals, are we not having f of x there? Did you say that that would not be the correct solution?
No, it says write a polynomial function.
Okay.
So when you're writing a polynomial function, you are writing f of x equals.
Okay.
Okay. Just want me to write it up here so you can check, just in case. You guys think you got it? It's an enthusiastic high five over there. There you go. All the eye stuff, yes. Okay, or minus the word here. Okay, so this is your let's say your zeros were 3 and negative 1. X minus you're actually doing X minus
X plus 5 equals X squared minus 6.
Oh no, sure is just like that. Okay. You guys good? So guys, again, when you write out the factors on this one, we'll go through this. it ends up being x minus 3 plus 2i and x minus 3 minus 2i. If you are starting to recognize, like, hey, it's kind of like I'm doing x minus 3 squared every time, and then there's also this, like, 2i times negative 2i. Like, I'm completely fine with you just seeing that I'm going to end up with x squared minus 6x plus 9, and then deal with this minus 4i squared. That's fine with me if you can just go right to that. If you need to write it all out, that's okay. Just be careful with all of your signs and everything. And then this obviously turns into plus 4, which is how we get our plus 13. Okay? Are we all right with that? Getting there? Okay. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. This section is kind of a jumble of things that we're putting it together. Just looking at what all I'm going to ask you. So this is more of just a, do you understand what directions mean? Okay, you don't have to write this down, guys. I just want to make sure you understand what I'm asking you. Spell that. Okay, read through that. Or I'll read it in case you can't read my handwriting. Write the polynomial as a product of linear and irreducible quadratic factors. So what does that mean? Like, I know I'm not giving you the problem to do, but what does that mean your answer is going to look like? What do you think, Rohan?
It's just gonna be
In factored form, okay? And they have to be linear, meaning just x factors, or if it's a quadratic factor, you can't factor it anymore. Okay, that's what the irreducible quadratic factors means. Okay, I just want to make sure. Sometimes I get interesting questions on directions. Okay, let's see. Let's try division with complex zeros. So, I don't know what example we're on. You're going to divide. So you're given a function. And guys, I got to look one up first because if I make one up for you, it's going to be ugly. So hold on for a second. Okay. I'm just going to start on a new page for you. So you are given p of x to the fourth minus 6x cubed. P of x, f of x, doesn't really matter. Plus 20x squared minus 22x minus 13. You are given that 2 minus 3i is a 0 of p of x. Right. Well, we'll just say completely factor p of x. Sorry, guys. All right. Yes. Where do you want to start on this one? What have we been doing up to this point? If I'm like, 4 is a 0, what would you do? Synthetic division. Can we synthetically divide with imaginary numbers? You can. I know, it's mind-boggling. Okay, so that's one option, is to do synthetic division. Another option is, if I know 2 minus 3i is a 0, what's another 0? 2 plus 3i. So if you do synthetic division, you'd have to do it twice with both of those. But if I know those two zeros, could I multiply factors together and then do long division based on that? That's another option. So you have to use division one way or another. You do what you want to do on your own paper. I'm going to show you the synthetic division just because it's kind of interesting to see it. But if you would rather do you know what I mean with the factors? Like what we were just doing? Multiply it together till you get an x squared something and then do long division. I actually think that's the easier way. But I want to show you what the synthetic division looks like. It kind of takes up some space, so give yourself a little bit of room. There's a lot of multiplying in it. You can do synthetic division this way, okay? I'm just going to leave it up here just so you can see it. I really do think the other way with long division is easier, but it's kind of cool how this ends up working out. Yeah, like you know this is going to end up being 0.
Yeah.
And this has to be 13. Yes. I'm going to multiply off to the side here. See if I add it right here. Oops. Sorry guys, you just keep dividing. know if I've messed up when I get to the end. So if you're doing synthetic first round, you get all these weird coefficients left over, but you do get a 0 as a remainder. And then if you go through and do it with the conjugate, the 2 plus 3i, guys, it's so much prettier. Okay. How many of you are doing the long division way, though? Yes, okay. I think it's the easier way. So I'll wait here a second. Make sure we all get to this x squared minus 2x minus 1. If you're getting lost in your division, let me know.
So you guys got x squared minus 4.
Yeah, but then for the rest of the answer, you have to include 2.
Oh yeah.
So like on a substitute, right?
You need 2 x minus 3x.
Yeah, and then you include the x squared minus 2x.
Yes, perfect, that's right. Yep.
No,
Good.
you want.
Okay. All right, again, log or synthetic, we get here. Now I said completely factor. Does that factor? No. So this is an irreducible quadratic factor, okay? And then if we go back to our 2 zeros were what? Was it 2 minus 3i and 2 plus 3i? Right? So if you think about it, x minus 2 minus 3i minus 2 plus 3i. We don't like imaginaries in our factors, so do you guys see the shortcut? If I was just doing the x minus 2 squared, that would be x squared minus 4x plus 4, right? And then I've got a negative 3i times a positive 3i, so that's minus 9i squared. So that's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 13 as your other factor. All right, and again, if I was doing long division, I would have divided by the x squared minus 4x plus 13. Okay. Yeah, that's why I multiplied them together. Questions? Yes.
So for all of these types of questions, you don't write it, like when you got to your final answer, you still write it as you write it as the.
Yeah, you almost always, I mean, I could ask something weird, but yeah, if it's almost always going to say with real coefficients. So you don't want to have imaginaries in your answer, okay? If I just said, what are the solutions, then you'd tell me x equals 2 minus 3i, 2 plus 3i, and whatever we get from the quadratic formula, the other part, right? Okay. We're going to play, that's the end of notes for today, so we're going to play a short little game before we get to your homework. So it's called the bluffing game. So you guys need your whiteboards out of your desk. So grab the whiteboard and the marker. Yeah, there's very few erasers, so.
I can give her track. Right.
Okay, so your teams. Let's see. Okay. Split down the middle, but Asher, you guys are both on this side. Okay. So it's me facing you. You guys are the right side. You guys are the left side. Okay. So I don't mess that up. All right. So how this works, I'm going to give you a problem. Everyone needs to do the problem on their whiteboard. And then I'll tell you, like, this is the right side's problem. And I'll ask you to stand up if you know the answer. Okay, you can stand up. Don't show me your whiteboard yet. Just stand up holding your whiteboard. However many of you are standing up, that's how many points the question is for. So you want everyone to stand up. So even if you don't know the answer, you can pretend you know and stand up. But if you're standing up, I can call on you. Okay?
You call multiple people per round?
Nope, one. I promise I will not be like walking around and being like, oh, you don't know it, but you stood up and you're not. Like, I'm not going to seek you out if I think you're lying, okay? I won't cheat and look to see who knows it and who doesn't know. If whoever I call on misses it, the other side can then steal the question for half the points. Okay, does that make sense? And for stealing, it's just whoever you think knows it on your side, just tell me the answer. I won't pick someone. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let's do, first one, you're going to write the polynomial, least degree, real coefficients, all of that when I give you the zeros. So the zeros are, let's do 2 and 3 minus 4i. So I'll give you a little bit of time. Don't show me your answers yet. You just do it on your board, and then I'll tell you when to stand up. Write a polynomial function of least degree with real coefficients. All right, we'll make this right side. On the right side, stand up. You guys are the right side. Okay, 12 points possible. Perfect. X minus 2 times x squared minus 6x plus 25. And she had her f of x equals, okay? What did I say, 11? 10? 11? It was 12? Okay. All right, so they get 12 points for that. Make sense? We'll change up what we're doing. Okay, sketch the polynomial. Just wait, don't stand up here. I'll tell you when to stand up. Think about everything that has to be included on a sketch, okay? Writing your next one. Give you a second here to finish. Make sure you tell me everything. Okay, left side. Stand up. I don't think you guys have quite as many people, so we'll give you a bonus 10. All right. No, they don't actually do this. No, like there's not 10 people standing. Or there are 10, I'll give you 11. All right, Ethan, let's see.
Okay, good, you're right. Yes.
So you've got to label the y-intercept. So it goes down to 0, -16. Both ends are up. We've got inflection happening at 1 and bouncing at -2. Okay with that? So I don't know. We'll say you have 11 points. Okay, next one. polynomial function for that graph. You look like your mind's been blown right now. Are you okay? I promise it works. Are you calling my bluff? No, I think it works. You don't like the negative 54, do you?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like no one wants to stand up on this one. All right, guys, consult with the rest of your team members. See if anybody's got it figured out. All right, I think it's right side's turn again, right? Okay, right side, stand up. Confident. Okay, you guys talk about that. Should all have it.
None of that. Let's put at the end instead of.
All right, let's go through this one because I know the negative 54 is kind of slowing your mind. You heard 1/2. Yeah, okay. So you guys are starting out with x minus 4, x plus,
Wait, x plus.
how about x plus 4, x minus 1, x minus 3, cubed, squared, all of that, you're fine, right? And then you're like, what? If I put 0 in, I don't get negative 54. What do you get?
You can take it off with
Negative 108. So what do I have to put in front?
1/2.
Half. Guys, you can put a leading coefficient. Okay.
Screws away zeros.
But what about the carrier?
You what?
That screws with the zeros.
It
just
doesn't.
makes it go,
Yeah.
It's just a vertical compression.
and also, it doesn't, I thought.
Yeah, what else do you not like? Because you guys seem to really not like it over here.
Okay, apparently it was just me not understanding.
Okay, what was it? I've heard you talking about turning points, right?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
should make 5 turns.
Possible. The most possible is 5 turns. It doesn't mean there has to be 5 turns. Okay. All right, guys. We'll stop there. There's 5 minutes left. So first, let me tell you what to skip on your homework, because there are a couple things. And then don't know that that's enough time to go look at your test. And I'm sorry. All right, so homework 2.2. I don't want you to do all of this. Number 1, just make the list, okay? Don't actually find the ones that work, because it's going to take a while. So just make the list. Then let's skip 3, 4, and 5. We're not doing the bound stuff. Skip 15. Okay, should be good on that. All right, so does that make sense? Number 1, just make your list. Skip 3, 4, 5, 15.